lasers are just about ready to start here.
Now, it looks like the audio's come back up, and I believe I've seen a countdown started in the IRC. And we are off for Game 2.
There we go.
All right, and it's looking like they're both picking typical first stages here, Quickman, Flashman. Is that Blizzard Buffalo I hear?
Well, since the music is randomized, it may well exactly be Blizzard Buffalo. Unfortunately, I believe that's one of the Mega Man X series games, enemies, and I'm not very familiar with those.
I love the X remixes, so anytime I get an X music track on these stages, it just makes me happy no matter what.
Uh-oh. Does that slow you down a little bit? Because you want to just stick around and listen to the music, or are you able to keep an objective mind there?
Oh, it's really hard. Sometimes I just want to sit there in the boss corridor and just listen. Well, I am made it through most of the lasers pretty well, so...
And resisting frame with a nasty situation there. You want to get that E-tank that's right above him right now, but he had a Met sitting right there on the platform that you want to jump to. And unless you have an item or some other way to get past that Met, that's almost impossible to get that E-tank.
Yeah, those shrimp can definitely... shrimp and the Mets can be pretty trolly there, especially if the Mets take more than one hit to kill.
Yeah, that definitely looked like a difficult proposition for resisting frame to get that first D-tank.
Ooh, now Infinite's got Airman. This is going to be scary.
It's going to be a scary fight.
He's going to take the death, which is not a bad choice. Taking the death quickly, getting it over with, and coming back in with full health is not really a bad idea. And it probably wants to save his E-tank. I didn't see if he used it or not already. He might be keeping it for later in the game.
Well, I think if he would have gotten a better pattern with where the air shots were being blown at him, because that's actually the first time he's hit Airman at all so far. And he's doing a good job of avoiding the collision with Airman.
There we go. That was a pretty bad Airman. Airman was putting up those tornadoes in a way that just shields him. There's no way to get the busters through until he finally moves, or if he gives you a better pattern. But with Airman and the randomizer, the tornadoes come out randomly, and the number of tornadoes can be random, and Infinite just kept getting a pattern of lots of tornadoes that blocked for Airman. So that was a tough one.
Yeah, and a lot of times, even if you have the weakness to Airman, it's hard to actually utilize it because of the air shots that come out. Now, I am picking Crashman second. Kind of unusual for a second stage, just because this stage tends to be so lag-heavy and difficult.
Well, he's already got item 1. I think he's looking for a zip on this screen right here.
Now, wouldn't it have been the screen before this one that you pulled the item 1 zip on, or is it possible to do it here as well?
There's an early setup on the screen before. The second screen there is where the actual big zip actually takes place, so it looks like he isn't doing the zip.
Yeah, the first zip, I think, is colloquially known as the biggie. On the first screen. It's definitely a harder setup. The easy setup is the second screen setup.
Well, when he checked his item 1, did you notice if it moved or not? Because
it is going up.
Okay, it was going up, so he did have some chance at least to try to pull off the zip.
Yeah, it's definitely a big risk to go there without even checking if the item 1 is a favorable item 1 behavior for zipping.
Oh, resisting frame taking that last body shot. He almost had Airman.
Yeah, unfortunately, resisting frame was forced to take the left path down the quick lasers, and he does not have an E-tank yet, unfortunately. I think he's trying to get on that second... Yeah, just stay right there. You should... Oh, get him. Oh, a second body shot.
Airman does a deceptively large amount of damage.
Is that like 10 damage, Squid?
I think, yeah, it is. I think it's the same as Woodman and such.
Yeah, it's a big body shot. And the reason it's so difficult is when Airman blows his fans, when he's blowing his tornadoes, whichever way he's facing, he makes Mega Man move. So if you're facing Airman, I don't know if you can see it right there, even though Airman's pointing the other way, he is pulling Mega Man in towards him. So if you're trying to do jump shots on Airman, there's a good chance you're going to get pulled right into Airman and take a body shot. And
while we were chatting, IM did pull off the zip, so he got past all those horrible laggy bunnies on the crash climb screen there.
Yeah, those rabbits are terrible in that screen because they immediately throw a carrot at you when you're trying to climb the ladder to just get on the screen, and it's really difficult.
And when you have 3 of them on the screen at a time, all throwing carrots all at once, well, that just makes the game unhappy.
I think it makes you runners unhappy all the same, having to put up with that madness as well. Ooh,
Looks like RF took an intentional death because he saw he had no lives left when he menued, so could be a very smart move for him to do.
What he did was gather an E-Tank, because when you do a game over in the new version of the randomizer, you keep your E-Tanks. So he just got an E-Tank with a quick death, and now he gets another E-Tank.
Oh, well, at the same time getting his lives back too, so yeah.
Yeah, that was a very fortuitous game over for Resisting Frame, because...
next level strats right there.
More Mega Man X music, I'm pretty happy.
Alright, enlighten us. Which stage is this from?
Oh, see, I don't know as much about the Mega Man X series, so it'd be hard-pressed for me to guess. I don't know if this is Volt Catfish or not, but I just don't know. Might be Crystal Snail.
You had me convinced because, you know, you got Blizzard Buffalo right off the bat. And,
all right. Chat's confirming it's Crystal Snail. My second guess was right.
All right, you've redeemed yourself.
First try.
Yeah, first try, guys. First try.
Exactly. We see Infinite Mystery is taking down Metal Man, slightly less aggressive this time around as compared to Game 1. So that means Resisting Frame is not going to have Metal Man at the end of this stage.
You just got some really fortunate drops there.
Yeah, that was a slip into the pit there, but that double health drop off of the toothpaste and the dispenser was really cool.
I wonder what happened there. He must have he got 2 drops of weapon refill as he was going off. I think that just messed up his inputs.
Yeah, it looked like he was trying to go for the second E-Tank on the stage and just jumped too far out. I think he was expecting possibly a fat fan to be waiting for him there, or something that would knock him back onto the E-Tank ledge. Now it looks like he'll take the item 2 ride across the pit.
Yeah, so that was an E-Tank pickup that he was going for there.
I am taking the right route down Flashman's stage here.
Oh yeah, we don't see this very often.
Yeah, I almost never see that.
Now, does that route save time as compared to the left side, or...?
I think it is almost always slower.
I think the left side is the fastest route, but I know, well, I can guess that looking at Infinite's health when he was dropping down, he wanted that health refill that's on the far right side. So being over on the right, if you're going to get that refill, I wonder if it ends up working out close to the same.
Oh, and here we go with item 1, Infinite Mystery. Able to pick up the E-Tank.
RF finishing off Crashman there. Looked like he used a charged heat, and it was doing some soft weakness damage to him.
And picking up item 3.
Wow, well. With item 3 and item 2 in hand, Heatman stage is a really good option.
Yeah, so we're going to see a pretty early appearance of the Heat stage. It's nice that the Sniper Joes are 1 buster shot and they're down, so that's something to always kind of keep track of, is bad guys that you're going to see a lot in the game, figure out how many shots they are so that when you see them in other stages, you know what's going on.
Looks like these...
Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, it looks like these Metroids, though, are a little bit tougher, and those are the enemies that are going to be giving him a problem going across this lava pit.
Yeah, those Metroids might be 6 or 8 shots or something like that.
And it's definitely a lot of shots.
Oh, that was a close one. That was scary.
Now, if you find an item weakness for any particular enemy, let's say the Metroids, for example, because they're not really Buster compatible here. If the Metroids show up elsewhere, that same weakness will apply to them throughout the entirety of this seed, correct?
True, yes.
And it looks like we're going to have a attempted item 3 zip for resisting frame as Infinite Mystery finished off another boss and is also in the Heatman stage at this point.
Yeah, I think they got the same idea once getting item 3 and item 2, heading to Heat.
I believe Infinite Mystery, and yeah, he has item 1 and item 2, where Resisting Frame has item 3 and item 2.
Oh.
Yeah, it's interesting that both players, I think, have completed 3 stages, and they both have 2 items, but not the same items.
Well, they did not complete the same stages, then. That would seem to be the reasonable conclusion.
Yeah, Infinite went to Crash, and Resisting Frame went to, was it Metal that we saw from him?
Correct. Resisting Frame, now that he opened his item screen, he has all 3 items.
Oh, wow. Well, there it is, yeah, I just saw it myself. That's fantastic. 3 stages and 3 items. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's definitely a departure from the last time. They picked up one of the items on their last stage, and definitely a lot slower because of it.
Yeah, even though these are randomized, I thought item 2 was supposed to be locked up in Heat, and item 1 is supposed to be locked up in Crash every time, right?
No, sir.
Those are just the seeds I play. Okay.
Only when we roll your seeds, it seems. But I believe Heatman in the vanilla game does have one of the items. I believe Airman is the second one. And I believe Flashman in the vanilla game has one of the other items as well.
Flash has item 3, Air does have item 2, and Heat will have item 1.
Okay.
This slow-traveling Heatman is actually, in my opinion, the more difficult one. You're so used to his normal speed being pretty fast, and it becomes pretty easy to jump over him. But when he slows down, he's actually a lot harder to get past.
And Resisting Frame is playing with fire here. He is really, really close to...
Oh, no, 1 shot away.
I was going to say, he's getting really close to those flames.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looked like he turned to the left, and that's what caused him to hit a flame. Infinite Mystery finding the air shooter to be fairly effective against Heatman here.
Yeah, even in the easy mode of the randomizer, it is definitely, I think, worth your time to at least attempt to find a weakness for Heatman, just because if Buster ends up being only doing 2 damage per shot, it's going to take you so long. His cycles are just where he's invulnerable are just so long.
Now it's 16 cycles with this, with a 2 damage Buster hit?
Well, each enemy or each boss has 28 health, and since the Busters in easy mode, can do a minimum 2 damage, you're gonna get 14 cycles out of this.
Okay, that's where I was missing my math. It was I was thinking that it was 32.
Infinite Mystery making the item 1 zip in the beginning of Metal look easy.
Yeah, this is interesting to see the runners using the zips that they were not really able to pull off in any fashion, just by where the items were placed in such unfortunate stages.
Oh my gosh.
I've done that. I feel so bad for resisting frame right now because I know the feeling, my friend. You're on your item 2, you're cruising along, you're like, I'm home free, but the item 2 is at this height where it runs into the platform, disappears, and you even if you try to jump out, for some reason you'll fall right through that gap. It's awful.
And you hate to see that, especially with a very favorable first screen in Bubble.
And
just using the item 2 to cruise across the whole screen.
Yeah. I was going to say that his use of the item 2 was fantastic as well, because he was facing backwards, almost like he knew that the birds were going to show up, and he got a back spawn on the birds.
Yeah, sometimes it's a good idea to face backwards on the item 2, just in case one of those troll spawns of birds comes flying at you.
Now, is that the only reason you would want to face left, or because the birds do come from whichever side that you're facing? But are there any other enemies that could show up and, you know, have you take advantage of whichever way you're facing?
I would say generally no, because most of the enemies that are, if they're going to hit you, unlike other Mega Mans where you get boosted backwards in the direction that you're facing, so like Mega Man's I believe 3 and to 6 in the classic series, but in Mega Man's 1 and 2 you actually will get boosted, I believe, in the direction of the traveling projectile, be it an enemy or just a projectile. So anything that's going to hit you is going to knock you in the same direction, regardless of which way you're facing.
Okay, so if something's going from right to left, it's going to knock you to the left.
I believe that's correct.
Infinite Mystery picking up that item 3 that he didn't have before, and also getting the Guts laser. I don't know if this was been talked about in this particular race, but some of the texts are randomized as well. I'm sure there's a list of options that the randomizer can choose from, but some of the names of things that you pick up from beating the Robot Masters and getting their powers are are kind of funny.
Yeah, I find TAS Attack to be one of the more entertaining ones.
I did a practice run of this earlier today, and I got the Cut Cutter, the most redundant weapon you could possibly get.
I tend to like the alliterated weapons. I think I've gotten maybe the Cool Kid Kick, or something to that effect.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility, because Cool Kid is in that list of words, and I've seen Kick before, yeah.
Alright, we've got some Mega Man 1 music going on here. That's also making me pretty happy.
Oh, boy. You know, I'd like a little more, I guess it's a little difficult to have on an NES cart, but a lot of the older Mega Man X series games, that's where I really played. Like Mega Man X4. I don't profess to be good at any game on any Nintendo console, but perhaps maybe F-Zero. But that was definitely a game that I loved playing.
Yeah, I don't know what Duckfist, what his requirements are for the music necessarily, because there is plenty of music that can be fit into these Mega Man 1, Mega Man 2 audio formats. However, he hasn't obviously put every single, song that possibly exists into this, so there's probably some criteria he wants to keep the game within.
I think I could pick a bunch of tracks that I think I'd love to see put in. If I could get myself a little song list prepared and say, hey, if you can do something with the sprites, you can do something with the music, right? Looks like Infinite Mystery takes an item 2 ride to his boss as Resisting Frame polishes off his.
Yeah, Quickman wasn't so quick on that one. I love Quickman's running speed is randomized, and that was a very slow running Quickman, which kind of cracks me up because he's a slow Quickman.
Now, is the Metal Blade always going to shoot in the direction you want? Because it looks like Infinite Mystery is shooting them up and to the left, when I think he was trying to just shoot them to the left.
So no.
If you shoot, go ahead, Squid.
So if you actually shoot the metal blades, normally I think in the game they're going at a 45-degree angle, but that angle is actually randomized in the game, so they can be at a steeper or a shallower angle when shooting on a diagonal.
Oh, okay.
Going back to that music, you know, the comments that we were talking about, I think one of the things I'd like to see is more boss fight music from different classic Mega games, as opposed to just the Mega Man 2 boss fight music.
I think Mega Man 3 was actually the first game in this series that I had played. And, you know, I'm kind of disappointed that, you know, it doesn't seem like the Crashman music has made it into this either. And that's one of those where I'm like, okay, if I'm listening to old music, when Crashman comes up, I'm like, okay, that's one I really want to listen to. Oh, what is going on? Resisting frame side of things. Stuff's popping up all over the place.
Now, there are a lot of bad guys on that screen. That one filled up in a hurry.
Infinite Mystery put his item 2 up a little higher, so did not run into the same problem that Resisting Frame did at the beginning of the Bubble Man stage.
Just to address chat here a little bit, there is a limited amount of space for audio tracks, and the audio tracks in Mega Man 2 are compressed in a way, and so it's not an exact one-to-one reproduction from an NES soundtrack file to a Mega Man 2 audio file. So you can't just take music from another game and use it in Mega Man 2. You kind of have to do a conversion, and sometimes that's a manual process. So there you have it.
Oh, I know. I used to do it, but that was, I think, like 4 laptops ago, and I go through a laptop about every 2 years, where I had all of the stuff I needed to do that, with extracting out the files. Because, you know, I'm kind of fond of Ninja Gaiden and those games, so when I hear the Stage 2 music from Ninja Gaiden 2, I'm kind of going, alright. No.
Resisting Frame having to take an E-tank on that wood fight because of those troll shields sticking around on
those
screen.
shields were awful. He would run back and chase Woodman to the other side of the screen, and the way that the leaf shield was traveling was just staying right with Mega Man and blocking all the buster shots.
So are you trying to imply that that leaf shield was moving rather slowly?
Oh, yes. Looks like Resisting Frame is actually on his last stage. Well, Robot Master stage.
It is Crash stage, though, and Infinite Mystery is at his boss, which is Bubble in the Bubble Chamber.
Wait a second, did we remember to randomize this? Is it even randomized?
Well, those colors don't look quite right, so I'm gonna say yes.
Now, Resisting Frame is going to learn that the rabbits in this next room are going to make his day very difficult.
Looks like he's going to try to use an item to get through this.
Leaf Shield looks like it takes 2 shots. It is effective, but he's going to have to hit that bunny pretty quick.
Yeah, and Flash is quite... If you have Flash and you're going into a weird screen transition, like we are right here, that's usually a really solid choice.
And we're very fortunate here. The Flash weapon appears to be more like the Flash Stopper from Mega Man 4 rather than the Time Stopper from Mega Man 2, where you will get multiple uses of this out of your energy bar here. It looks like it consumes maybe 4 or 6 per use.
Yeah, the regular Mega Man 2 Time Stopper, once you activate it, that's it. It goes until you run out of item energy, correct?
That is correct.
Right. Okay, Resisting Frame making it through what might be thought of as the more difficult way.
Oh, I certainly think so.
It's all about that item 1, though. Item 1 is so fickle. Can either be really good or really bad. I don't know if there's any in-between item 1.
Well, the properties of item 1 are randomized, correct, in this particular version of the game, correct?
Yes, this version has randomized properties for item 1, including how long it stays on the screen and how fast it can move. It can even be stationary, so its speed, its vertical speed, or sorry, vertical speed could be 0. So it could just be stationary, and that means that it's not really good for zipping at all. Items 3 and items 2 are unaffected by the randomizer as of yet. There is, talk of potentially making item 3 and item 2 have some random properties, but the problem is that item 3 and item 2 are pretty critical to certain parts of the game, and so changing their properties may make the game could make the
almost
game
unplayable.
Yes.
Because if item 2 doesn't get you across that, I guess not necessarily that part, because you can kind of use the Yoku blocks, but there's a spot in, I believe, the Wily 2 stage where you have one option, and that's use item 2.
Yes, if you're a skilled Mega Man 2 player, there is a zip there that you can do with item 1, provided your item 1 is zippable, but yes, the item 2 is the intended way to go across that spike pit in Wily 2.
Ah, there we go. I was kind of trying to figure out what resisting frame was looking for, but it was an energy drop.
I'm just farming up some health there.
So now that we've actually gotten to the Wily stages here with Infinite Mystery, we are going to go ahead and open the chat up to our game that we like to play, which is called Guess the Color of the Dragon. The dragon's color palette can be random, so we like to just, do a little game where you guess what it's going to be, because it's always a little fun to see what kind of colors a dragon can be.
Rico, are you going with Barbie again?
No, I'm going with Barney the Evil Evil Mechasaur.
Okay, I'll take Barbie this time, so pink with purple highlights.
I was going to say hot pink, but now I'm going to have to choose something else. I'm going to go with solid blue.
Oh, chat being little savages here, picking the colors, it seems.
I am's got to be careful here.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to have to do that climb again.
You do not want to have to refill item 1 on Wily 1.
Well, the good thing is it takes
Go.
a few... Oh, jump.
Doing the fourth one. Okay, we're there. And this is fine. The gear guys fall straight down.
He was scaring me a little bit there.
Yeah, I know. All of us were a little nervous. Yeah, those little gear guys. That screen with the ladder that Infinite Mystery just climbed up is actually quite terrifying, because with the nature of the randomizer, you could get bad guys that spam, like the frogs are particularly bad. They spit little frogs all over the place. They don't fall off the screen like some of the guys do, and they can be really problematic. And sometimes you get nothing to appear on that screen. Oh, it's a metal dragon.
It is a gray and purple. That is a nice looking dragon there.
Does that count as half credit for me? I did call purple, but not as the main color.
I'll give you 50%.
I mean, it's still a failing grade, but, I guess it's better than nothing.
That looks like IM finds that air shooter is the weakness, and it's a very fortunate air shooter, too. It's not one of those that goes straight up, but rather goes horizontal quite a distance, so gets out of that unscathed.
That was as close of a dragon as I've ever seen to Prodigy's Blue Eyes White Dragon. That was a Purple Eyes White Dragon.
Yeah, and the one time he goes and gets away from it, I steal it away from him, and guess what shows up? Haha, got him.
And here we are seeing the number 2 across the spike pit like we just talked about.
Yeah, I don't see how you could item 1 zip there, but
It's one that's sort of set aside for the professionals. I've never even tried it. You have to do a damage boost off of something before the spike pit. While you're in iframes, run across the spike pit, place an item 1 underneath the next ceiling, jump on it, get Mega Man forced into the ceiling like you do, and execute a zip. And having all of that all go together without getting yourself killed is very difficult.
So I am choosing to skip the extra life and E-Tank behind the crash barriers here. And we find drills in the corridor.
Is this even randomized?
Ooh.
They didn't show up till later, which makes for a really, really sticky situation.
Well, this is interesting. Here. Resisting frame using Metal Blade on the dragon. The dragon has 2 weaknesses, is that correct?
Yes, it will have 2 weaknesses. Ooh, IM is not having a good time trying to place this item 3. I think
these drills are actually worse than the vanilla drills because they're out here at the end of the corridor. Ooh. Oh, I was going to say he despawned them. No, they're back. And normally the drills are gone when you get to this point in vanilla. And so getting up that little passage there with an item 3 or a pair of item 1s is quite doable, but with that many drills around, it's not easy.
And here we see a little bit of the randomizer in terms of ammo consumption. You'll see that Resisting Frame did use metal to kill the dragon, and he used a lot of it. Looks like Metal Blade takes up quite a bit of ammo when using it, unlike the vanilla game, which you can probably shoot, like, I don't know, what, 5 or 6 Metal Blades before it even takes a tick of ammo down?
Yeah, in the vanilla, you can go through all the Wily stages using Metal Blade for all of the useful areas and never need to refill it, not even close. It consumes almost no ammo in the vanilla game.
Yeah, doesn't Quick Boomerang act in the same way?
Yes. Infinite Mystery finding that Metal Blade is really effective against Picos, but he is going to run out of ammo for it, so he's going to have to find a second weakness.
And Resisting Frame choosing to test these crash barriers here, so he's going to have some knowledge that Infinite Mystery is not going to have.
The other weakness is Quick Boomerang.
And it looks like Crash is the weakness to the crash barriers.
Well, looks like they forgot to randomize that part of the game.
Now, Pico is another boss that you should never underestimate. Pico body shots do quite a bit of damage as well. I do believe it's also 10 health per hit, so you can only take so many hits here, and they can be really quick, especially if you're trying to menu to take an E-Tank and one of your weapons that you shot is still on screen. Always safer to just menu, try not to risk it, and take that E-Tank.
Oh, that was absolutely brutal with the Quick Boomerang. It looked like it took 4 to 6 shots to beat each one of the Picotan blocks.
Yeah, I want to say it was 5. It seems like when you find a weakness for the Picos that isn't a super strong weakness, that it's 5 shots is pretty typical value.
IM is skipping all the refills, and we are going into some nice chlorinated blue water here.
Yeah, nice clean water. That doesn't ever happen.
Oh, I want to say something, but it's not family friendly, so I'm going to keep my mouth.
Resisting Frame went straight to both weaknesses. He used Quick, found that it worked. It was 5 shots. Maybe he wanted something that was more effective. Went to Metal Blade, and that's very effective, but we know that ammo gets eaten up real fast.
Yeah, his ammo is getting eaten very fast, so he's going to have to find another weakness. He's going to have to probably use Quick Boomerang.
It looks like it'll only be 1... yeah.
2 Picos shy. But he did kill the first one with Quick, so... Yeah, no, I think no matter what you did there, you didn't have enough metal to do all of them.
Yeah, it looked like the metal item consumption was just about the same as the Picotan robot life bars to kill each one. And he did not have a full set of Metal Blade item energy.
Now, RF is out of Metal Blade. I'm wondering if he's going to choose to refill it here.
It would kind of shock me if he didn't.
It looks like the weakness to the Guts Tank is Metal Blade, and I think the Guts Tank only has one weakness, unless
It looks like Infinite's still searching, actually. I think he tried Metal Blade a number of times. I don't think... No, it does look like something that he's tried along the way has done damage to the Guts Dozer.
He had 2 Metal Blade shots left, and I do
and he has no ammo.
I do believe Guts only has 1 weakness, if I remember correctly. So
Infinite Mystery
might be stuck here.
To game over to refill metal at this point.
LV Creed in chat has posted that the Guts Tank supposedly has 2 weaknesses.
Guts has 2 weaknesses. Okay, in that case, it might be charged heat that he hasn't tried yet.
But it looks like Infinite Mystery is taking a death, and we'll see if he just plops down into the spikes and goes for a game over.
Yeah, if Infinite wants to do a continue, this is a good place to do it and just land on a spike, but he's going to go back in.
He could potentially farm in the corridor before the boss.
He could. Oh, and there's a good place to farm. He's got a toothpaste.
Oh, that's very fortunate.
Oh, but he killed the toothpaste generator.
Oh, no.
Now, I was so focused on what Infinite was doing. Did Resisting Frame fill up his metal?
He took a lot of the item energy on the way down. I don't know if he filled it up all the way, but he did a good job of filling it up. Unfortunately, I got hit with a little bit of a lag there, so I can't tell entirely.
Yeah, I seem to have lost the stream.
Leaf Shield also works. Leaf Shield is the second weakness from Resisting Frame. And Resisting Frame's just going to jump into the Guts Dozer's face with Leaf Shield and take it down. So we have a lead change.
Oh, Resisting Frame gets to Guts Dozer and just brute forces his way through with the E-Tank. Well done. And looks like Infinite Mystery, unfortunately, losing a lot of time with farming up the item energy that he may need to take Guts Dozer down here.
So Resisting Frame figuring out what he needs to refill at the beginning of Wily 4 here. I think making some good choices. We've seen how effective metal is against many things, and then filling up wood again. So most of his critical weapons are pretty full. Air might be a little bit low, so he's in pretty good shape though.
Opting to refill his Leaf Shield. I believe the W is Woodman's Leaf Shield. I don't believe the Flash Stopper will be a weakness for any enemy going forward.
No, it's not effective from here on out, unless there was a Robot Master that it could be effective against, but even if it was, it's definitely not worth it.
Yeah, question in chat is, what is Guts Dozer's vanilla weakness? And I believe it's Quick Boomerang, like LV Creed has said in the chat.
Yes, it is. For the folks that play the game on vanilla, when you're using Quick Boomerang on the Guts Dozer, I usually go for a 2-jump. You know, you're jumping and mashing as fast as you can, and if I can pull off a 2-jump kill on the Guts Dozer, for me, that's pretty darn good. There are some absolute amazing speedrunners out there that can do it in 1 jump. They can jump and mash so fast that they can take down the Guts Dozer in only 1 jump with the Quick Boomerang, which always blows me away when I see that.
Yeah, it looks like I'm hitting a little technical difficulty. The stream is buffering on my side, so...
Yes, that's unfortunately, I'm experiencing the same thing.
Okay, well, I got this, guys. For some reason, I'm not buffering. For once, I am not the one suffering from technical issues, so I'll hold the fort while you guys get things dialed in.
Yeah, I'm going to refresh the stream and hopefully see what happens here.
These spike rooms in Wily 4 here are not being friendly. I mean, they're never friendly, but they're not being friendly right now. They're pretty ugly. Those rabbits on the first screen, like Squidman said earlier, they lag the game like crazy, so everything slows down, and you might get knocked into a spike or something there. The third screen is another pretty bad one. We're going to see it on Infinite Mystery's screen right now. It's not too bad because only one rabbit actually showed up, but he's still throwing carrots, which is not a great situation. So Infinite's going to use item 1s for some safety, which is a great plan with what's going on here.
Yeah, you're usually used to just sitting on that ladder, but unfortunately those carrots are flying at you from across the screen.
Yeah, heat-seeking missiles. And now Resisting Frame coming to the dreaded Boobeam room. He knows that the crash walls are weak to crash, and so he's going to just go to work dismantling some walls right away.
Yeah, just like Game 1, this is where Resisting Frame really got his lead, because he knew what the weakness for the crash walls was.
And the Boobeam itself is weak to air, which is kind of good, because air, it's easy to hit these things with air.
And it looks like Infinite Mystery is farming up some item energy here, if not actual energy as well. But unfortunately, again, even after refreshing, I'm just catching a little bit of lag here, so... Oh boy.
Resisting Frame using some of those pause strats to avoid damage.
I only laugh because we've all done that too. Is Resisting Frame used an item 1 to get back up to the level of the Boobeam. Then unfortunately the item 1 picked him up and pushed him into the ceiling and zipped him back out. Bad item 1, don't do that. Okay, and Resisting Frame does make it through the Boobeam room. That one's scary. And now we're going to see Infinite is going to be looking for the wall weakness and finds it pretty quickly.
Well, this is looking like it's still a pretty tight race.
Yeah. So Infinite's going to have to dismantle some more walls. And he uses the air shooter to take down the Boobeam. So he knows what the weaknesses are, but he's got plenty of other places to... Well, actually, he's got 2 Boobeams, but they're still blocked by walls. Oh, I see what he's going to do here.
Well, it looks like we have the refights left over where Infinite Mystery, at least in Game 1, had the advantage of knowing what the weaknesses of more of the robot masters were, so it's entirely possible he might be able to make up some time here.
It looks like Resisting Frame is searching for a weakness to heat.
If you can find a weakness for heat, it's pretty worth it, because only 2 damage with a buster shot, and the way that you have to wait for him to go through his cycle before you can hit him again. If you have a weakness, it's well worth it, but if you're searching for a weakness forever, you can lose time pretty fast there too.
Well, Resisting Frame's in his second boss fight, Infinite Mystery is in his first boss fight. And that Quickman went very quick because he was Buster weak.
And on Resisting Frame's screen, this airman is trouble once again. This airman is nasty.
No.
He has a lot of tornadoes.
Oh.
What is that, 6 tornadoes per cycle? That's a lot.
Yeah, I believe that 6 is the most that Airman can actually do per cycle,
Yeah.
so they got a pretty bad Airman here. And Airman can jump a random distance and a random height, so he could jump all the way across the screen at you, or he could jump, just like a couple of tiles from where he was standing.
Yeah, it's impossible to predict what he's gonna do because it's usually nothing like the vanilla.
Well, Infinite Mystery went up against Crashman, and looks like he might have taken a death there as well.
Crashman is another one that always makes me nervous. Crashman's a tough fight, especially when Crashman gets some tools that give him a big advantage. Like, there's Crashman can have a number of crash bombs on the screen. So in the vanilla, of course, he only shoots one crash bomb at a time. In this, he can spam crash bombs if he gets that sort of RNG.
The resisting frame appears to be trying to find a weakness for metal as well.
He's unfortunately out of air shooter, and I believe that was what he used in this stage to take out Metal Man.
I believe he found that air shooter worked effectively against heat, and so he used air shooter for heat as well.
Here's that trolley Woodman again with that shield that just blocks buster shots.
It looks like Infinite Mystery might have taken the lead with that death from resisting frame and his weapon searching.
Oh no,
right.
Resisting frame does have an energy tank here. So I'm kind of interested in trying to figure out why he's not using it, and instead
he may be saving it for the
death.
Wily machine.
If you've got enough lives and you've only got one E-Tank, it might be smart to save it for the Wily machine, just because if the Wily machine isn't weak to Buster, it can be kind of a challenge depending on what the weakness is.
Well, that's very true. I don't know, with resisting frame's situation, he cannot test air shooter at all, so if that happens to be a Wily machine weakness, is he kind of just up the creek, as the phrase goes?
Wily machine will be weak to 3 weapons in the first phase and 3 weapons in the second phase. 2 of which will be overlapping, so he's not necessarily in trouble, but if air shooter is one of the weaknesses, it definitely will put him at a disadvantage, I'd say, because air shooter is a fairly favorable weakness most of the time.
Infinite Mystery now struggling with Airman, and no surprise because Airman in this seed is very challenging. He only needs to land 2 more buster shots and not get jumped on. There we go.
And the machine is, in fact, weak to Buster, so we're not going to have to worry about those weaknesses until maybe the alien.
Oh, resisting frame still refusing to use that energy tank.
I actually believe he did use it earlier, if I'm not mistaken.
I guess with my lag, I didn't see it, so unfortunately I won't be able to tell.
Yeah, resisting frame must not have it because he took another death there. I don't... If he had it, I think he would have used it right then. So both players on the Wily machine at the same time. And Infinite Mystery doing a pretty good job of dodging the first cycle shots from the machine.
Yeah, unfortunately,
and Infinite Mystery does have an E-Tank.
Yeah, resisting frame did a lot better job there. Infinite Mystery not even hesitating to use the E-Tank, and it looks like he'll be able to take down the Wily machine second point as well.
I was wrong.
I was wrong too.
Frame did have an E-Tank.
He had an E-Tank.
I thought so. I didn't know where he possibly could have used it, and it just, I'm like, oh no.
Now this part will be incredibly interesting because Infinite Mystery is going right. He's not going to refill anything. And Resisting Frame is choosing to refill.
Oh, so Infinite Mystery is just opting to go right down Victory Road and head into the alien fight, and Resisting Frame, at least his air shooter, he's going to pick up an item energy and sees that he's going to pick one up for Crash. Hopefully this alien is going to take enough damage that he won't have to force a game over.
Yeah, with this one choice, I'm always really interested in this. If you choose to refill, and it is air weak, oh my goodness. Wow.
Oh no.
No.
Oh. So Infinite Mystery is gonna have to, oh wait, no. Oh, because the alien only has one weakness, correct?
That is correct.
There is only one weakness for the alien. Infinite Mystery has to just take a death and refill it. Resisting Frame's air ammo is also still very low, and he takes a death. Oh, this is still going.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow. This is going to be a race to see who game overs first. Then,
Infinite Mystery knows he needs to refill air,
Resisting
and he gets
Frame,
refills for air. Resisting Frame doesn't know.
Unfortunately, Resisting Frame did fill up everything already. So
yeah, he used one
to...
on the air shooter and one on the crash shot, which, oh, what a shame.
This is one of the craziest endings I've ever seen.
Resisting Frame might actually have just enough air to win, but...
oh, if he doesn't, this is going to be so savage, because then it becomes a race to game over.
Yeah, Resisting Frame needs a bunch of double, maybe triple shots with his air shooter because his ammo is much lower. Infinite Mystery knows what the weakness is, and I think he has enough ammo. We're going to find out right now. And there it is.
Wow, what a race. What a race.
Wow, Infinite Mystery pulling it off and winning game 2 with official SR time of 51 minutes and 4 seconds.
This really did come down to some crazy luck at the end of the game.
Yeah, some luck and some decision making, because it's so interesting that Infinite Mystery ran straight to the alien and ran out of ammo. Resisting Frame searching much later for the air shooter, and now finding it, realizing what he needs to do to finish this out.
The problem now is that he's going to have to game over so he can refill all of his ammo. He already took the weapon refills, so...
Well, it doesn't matter when you... Yeah, he's got full ammo now, so he's just gonna run over to the alien and get a kill here.
Oh, wow. So we are going to be treated to a game 3.
Now that's the kind of night I like. 3 Mega Man games.
That means chat has to put up with me doing commentary on 3 games in a row. I love it.
Come on, everybody needs more Frico.
So I think Resisting Frame knows the weakness, and it's just going to be a matter of finishing off the fight here.
Yeah, looks like we've got it there. Yeah, GG's to both runners. That was a crazy ending. So don't go anywhere, folks. Maybe make some popcorn really fast, because we're going to be back with Game 3.
Well, before we go anywhere, though, Resisting Frame did finish with an official SRL time of 52:53.
All right. So I'm going to take a minute to prepare myself for Game 3. I'll be back.
And while we're waiting, and I've got you guys here, I'm looking ahead at the schedule. We already talked about a matchup that's coming up tomorrow. Some guy named Stuffin' Things is taking on Squidman. That's 10 p.m. Eastern. That'll be a fun one. And then tune in again on Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern for Easy Danger versus Daggett.
Well, while we have some time, could we get a little, let's have a little back and forth here. Squidman, why do you think Stuff and Things is going to win the race tomorrow between you two? I'm going to try to cause some havoc here.
We might have lost Squidman for a moment. He might have stepped away.
Uh-oh. All right, well, since you're here, why is Squidman going to beat you tomorrow?
Why is Squidman going to beat me? Squidman is a really good speedrunner of quite a few Mega Man games. Mega Man 1 Glitchless, we have been competing with each other, a friendly rivalry for probably coming up close to a year. And we've gone back and forth a lot, and it's been really fun. Squidman actually, I think, has the potential to go after a world record in that game, in that category. And in Mega Man 2, if this were normal zipless, I could wipe the floor with Squidman, to be honest. But it's randomizer, so throw that out the window because it's totally not true. Squid is really good at randomizer. He's got strats. He knows zips. He has all sorts of backups and like game plans for when things go right or wrong or whatever, and he knows what to do. So yeah, that's why he's probably going to crush me.
Oh, that bad? Huh?
Setting up some expectations here.
Yeah, well, now it's your turn, Squidman. Why is Stuff and Things going to beat you tomorrow?
Well, a lot of times I will go for like kind of risky strats or dumb things, and I'll end up just making myself putting myself into a worse situation. I feel like that's what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm going to get into a situation, I'm going to say, man, I should really do this, and waste like 30 seconds or a minute trying to do something that's going to ultimately end up biting me.
Interesting.
Stuff and Things has really great zipless strats too. The other day, he caught up. We were racing a rando, and he caught up in the Wily stages just by using zipless strats like item 3s and to get up ladders faster. Where I'm not really familiar with all those things in the game. I've run Mega Man 2 a few times, in the past, but I'm not as proficient in these strats as Stuff and Things is. So it's going to be quite interesting.
Well, I look forward to the match. I'm kind of hoping that it ends up being as close as this one used to be. Should be a pretty good match between the two of you.
I think we're going to put on a good show.
Yeah, I think that's what we're both going for, really, is... I mean, if I lose to Squid, I'll still be pretty happy, because if I'm going to lose to anybody, it might as well be him. But I would love to just have some really close, really tight races that are exciting to the end.
Well, it is a winner's bracket match, so the winner between the two of you will make it into the final bracket draw. But, the loser will not be eliminated. It looks like you'll have to go through Barn Owl to earn your way back into the final bracket, but whoever loses definitely isn't out.